What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the all-new 2025 Chevrolet Equinox. This one is the RS all-wheel drive, finished in Radiant Red Tintcoat with an MSRP at $40,300. So let's get right into Chevy's newest, smaller mid-size crossover. Let's see what this thing has to offer. Underneath the hood of the 2025 Chevrolet Equinox, you're going to find the 1.5 liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged motor. This pumps out 175 horsepower with 203 pound-feet of torque. This features all-wheel drive with an 8-speed automatic transmission. Curb weight is around 3,600 pounds. It runs on a 15.6 gallon fuel tank. You can also expect 24 miles per gallon in the city with 29 out on the highway, and it can even tow around 1,500 pounds. The overall length is 183.2 inches with the wheelbase at 107.5. Width is 74.9 and height is 65.6 inches. Moving on to the styling with the newest Chevy Equinox. This certainly has a pretty bold appearance, especially with the blacked out accents all throughout it. This color certainly pops in the daylight. You got a nice daytime running light up above with your turn signal, really nice lighting. The actual headlights are down below with a blacked out housing and then fog lights in the lower section. You can see the gloss black trim throughout the entire center with a blacked out Chevy logo. There's a forward facing camera, massive openings along with active grille shutters behind the actual mesh. Down below we just have a little bit of plastic black material and then more gloss black throughout it. You can see more openings for extra cooling and then really sharp contours all throughout the front end. It's a really sporty looking SUV. Definitely looks like a mini Traverse, so I like the styling. You got some sharp body lines up on the hood fitting into the windshield, and then really can't complain. It is a bold crossover. Down below, some of that plastic material will make its way around these front fenders, giving it a nice design. And then you have a two-tone design for these split 5-spoke wheels, finished off with a 19-inch diameter. You have really sharp body lines throughout that front fender, blacked out Equinox logo, and more of the plastic material for the entire side skirt, along with some extra contours throughout those doors. You're going to see black for the mirror cap with a side view camera, body color door handles, and all black trim as well as the roof. So you can see all of that looking really cool. Panoramic roof up on top with black roof rails, and I like how that third window kind of cuts in with a trim piece down below. Side profile is pretty nice, very proportional overall. I think you have really good lines with this two-tone theme, and then a cool set of LED taillights with a nice aggressive look like we saw up in front. You're going to get an integrated spoiler up on top along with the third brake light. And I guess if you stand too close to the back, it will automatically open up the power liftgate, which is a pretty cool touch. Of course, you're going to have that button up there as well to go ahead and close it. And then down below, we have more of the plastic material, gloss black trim throughout the lower section, parking sensors, all of your badging, and then just a really sharp design overall. Moving on to the key fob, we get lock, unlock, remote start, and your tailgate, blacked out Chevy badge. You can go ahead and lock the car. Then by just grabbing the door handle and pressing the button, we can lock or unlock it. This one's going to get the black Evo Tex interior with red accents all throughout it. And then the door panel is finished off in the black color. I really like this vinyl material, has a texture to it, contrast stitching and padding. Of course, you have all your window and mirror controls up above with your release handle. There is memory seating as well, storage down below with a tailgate release, and then power controls for this driver's seat with power lumbar. I like this red accent with more contrast stitching. You have perforations throughout the center of the seat, and then a nice design with the red and blue accents all throughout. RS is embossed up into the headrest as well, and we have a nice flat bottom design on the steering wheel with more red accents. And then now inside the 2025 Chevy Equinox, keep my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. You're going to get two of the LCD screens that will turn on. Of course, you'll get a few messages that will pop up, and the chime for your seatbelt not being buckled. Taking a look at the steering wheel, you are going to get some controls on the left side. We have our low range right here for your drivetrain. A little interesting to have that on the steering wheel. We have cruise control settings as well, forward pacing. On the right side, some Bluetooth and audio controls along with heated steering wheel, and then this icon to cycle through the gauge cluster. We have a full screen nav. You can also get into some safety information, a little bit more simple design, and then back to our traditional one. You can scroll up and down on the right side as well, seeing a few different things. Now there are buttons on the back side of the steering wheel for volume as well as track. And then on the right side, this is your transmission controller. So with my foot on the brake, pulling it back and up, that is reverse. Pulling it back and down, that is drive. P button is for park. So pretty interesting with that. Over on the left side, you're going to see your windshield wipers stock. And one thing kind of interesting, if you push this one, it will activate the windshield wipers in spray, which means when you do your turn signal, sometimes you might hit this button, which has happened a few times. So again, a little bit interesting the way they have done this. On the left side, we have some cool red accents around the air vent, parking button as well. We have all-wheel drive. You can toggle between front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. We have the auto hold, some soft touch material up across the dashboard, and then more of this nice vinyl material with more of that red accent. So overall, it looks really cool in here for sure. The center infotainment screen is going to feature the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. We have the Google Assistant as well. All sorts of different information that will pop up. We have settings for lighting, things like that. We have different profiles, navigation, all of your audio controls. Tapping this icon comes up with all sorts of information that you can configure. So overall, really simple design. If we go into reverse, you're going to get a top-down view along with that backup camera. We can configure a few different views, seeing top-down for the front and rear, close-ups for the front and rear as well. So overall, pretty nice system. And then we're back into park. You've got two of your air vents down below and physical climate controls all down below the screen. So you can see all these different toggles for your zone, dual zone temperature as well, heated and ventilated seating, and then your fan speed right in the center. We also have extra storage down below. You can see some plugs, wireless phone charging pad. You can easily fit 2 phones in here, which I really like the storage in this. Cup holders on the right, extra storage here, great for your key, and then a drive mode toggle. You can toggle this. You're just going to get a few off-road ones as well as the normal one. And then down below everything, there is more storage underneath the center console. And then your armrest has this nice vinyl with contrast stitching. Pressing the front, we have a pretty large bucket in here as well. And then the glove box, as you would expect, pretty large. One last look at the interior. Really can't complain with the look. I think it looks really nice in here. Very padded on the seats. I love all the contrast. Then we have a massive headliner with the sunroof shade, and then you can see sunglass holder up above, and then all of our controls for the glass as well as the shade. You're also going to get a digital rear view. Very easily you can operate all of that. Moving on to the rear seat space, if I grab the door handle and open it up, the door panel is finished off just like we saw up front with this nice vinyl material along with the two-tone stitching, and then the seats have the same material as well, all the contrast, the perforations, and the smooth. For the center, we can pull this down. We have an armrest along with 2 cup holders, and then there are air vents and heated seats for the back. There's going to be storage on the backs of these seats as well, and then you can pull this lever up here and fold these seats nice and flat for better storage. So hopping into the back seat with the Chevy Equinox. So at 5'11", I'm sitting here pretty good. I do have a nice amount of headroom. Of course, with this sunroof opened up, you have so much light let in here. Driver's seat at my height, I have pretty good legroom and footroom. The heated and ventilation options are really nice to see. So you have good amenities. Armrests are both pretty good. Only complaints, I would say, the seat does not recline. So this is the fixed angle. It's at a good recline, but there are other cars in this segment where you can recline it a lot farther back. Also, this is a little bit large to where you don't really have as much view around as you might like in other cars. The seats are a little short as well, so not the best support on my leg. But I would say overall for what this is, it's a pretty good back seat. Obviously, some are worse, some are better, but this is definitely kind of in the middle, pretty good option. And that leads us back to the power liftgate once again. We do also have a button back here and the button on the key fob and the interior. So many ways to open that. As you can see, I have the floor opened up right now. We do have a spare tire under here. So you're gonna get that, and I like this tray in here to where you can utilize this for extra storage space. We can also close this back down, and you have a nice flat load floor as you would expect. And from back here, you can easily reach these, and we can get these seats to fold down nice and flat. So pretty good cargo space, as you can tell, folding flat. The fender arches are on the far side, so you have a really good center portion for all the space you're gonna need. And then once again, just pressing that button, we can easily close everything up. All right, setting off now in the Equinox. So when you're in the low range, by tapping that icon, you can use the paddles. Needless to say, this is no sports car, and you probably are only ever gonna use that if you're on a steep mountain drive or something to where you just need to hold a better gear. But generally, you'll pretty much never use low or the paddles. So normal driving, the ride quality is actually pretty good. Now when I drove the front wheel drive CVT one, I just didn't quite like it. It just felt way too loose. This still has a lot of body roll, like that is very wobbly. However, the transmission delivers the power way better. I think this is just much more my taste of a car. Ride quality is really smooth. While it does have that body roll, it is very comfortable going over the bumps. You just don't feel anything. The seats also have really good padding in them to where this is a pretty nice ride. It's quiet too. You don't really hear any wind noise or road noise. Visibility's all really good. Both mirrors will actually even dip when you're in reverse. And then over your right and left shoulder, not too bad. That seat pillar is a little bit big by the back seats, but overall I'd say visibility is pretty nice to see around. Using the technology, I think it looks really good. The center screen looks awesome, of course, with the full screen nav you can pop up. You have a little bit more simple design. So all that looks nice and premium. Center screen, like all GMs, looks really good. The Google Assistant works well to do your navigation, radio, things like that. And I love how we have physical climate controls with the ventilated seats. Most cars are going into everything's in the screen, which I think is an awful trend. So I'm really, really happy about these buttons. One drawback, the left climate button, you do have to kind of look around the steering wheel to see. I don't know if the camera shows it, but I have to look every time to see what that temperature is at. So if you're doing the dual zone where your driver's is different, you might have to fight that a little bit just looking around it. But overall though, it drives nice. Hitting those train tracks, I mean, it's solid. Build quality feels pretty good. Most of the interior is a nice soft touch material. You only have this panel as a hard piece, and then this is a little wobbly. Other than those two things, everything else feels really nice for the price point. So I really don't have many complaints with this. I'm liking this a lot more than I expected, and I feel like it's a pretty comfortable, good, normal crossover, but has a cool style inside out to make it feel above and beyond. So my honest thoughts with the new Chevy Equinox, now that I've been able to experience the all-wheel drive with the 8-speed, when I did film the front-wheel drive, which comes with a CVT, I said I would reserve all my real judgments until I drive the all-wheel drive version. I'm pleasantly surprised. Maybe that just wasn't my taste. So this one, it drives nice. The transmission shifts good. You don't feel weird torque steer or anything from the front wheel drive. Now, I've only been driving this in the all-wheel drive setup. You can toggle it and go to front wheel drive as well. So maybe let's do that. We'll toggle that. Now we are in two-wheel drive, which of course is going to be front. Let's see if we do feel any weird torque steer getting up and going. But it's a pretty pleasant car to be in and just kind of sit in. Yeah, so in front wheel drive mode, I mean, you've probably heard it squealing the tires, kind of flooring it around a turn. I'm just not a fan of that type of drivetrain in a car like this. I just feel like you always spin the tires in front wheel drive mode. So for me, I like the all wheel drive. You don't get that. Maybe let's do that again and see how this feels. And even hit a little bit of a gravel spot just to feel out the ride quality. Not bad. Of course, you have the off-road mode if needed. But quickly driving around in a circle on some gravel, it seems like a pretty confident vehicle. If you're going to be going on maybe a camping trip or something adventurous, I feel like this is a crossover that's going to get you there pretty nicely. So now in all-wheel drive mode, less squealing, but definitely much better. Yeah, no weird torques or anything. So for me personally, I think all-wheel drive is the way to go. It just drives a lot better. Now, things I like about it, it's very comfortable. Now, of course, if you're taking high-speed turns, it's kind of wobbly, which I'm not a fan of, but that does translate to a very exceptionally smooth ride. And most people are probably never driving this the way I've been driving it. Obviously, I'm used to sports cars. But when you're driving this like a normal person would, it is very confident, very comfortable. It's a nice place to be. It's roomy feeling in here as well and very quiet. And as long as you're not just going crazy in the turns, I mean, it's quite nice going through these switchbacks right now. So it seems like a nice luxury riding car without breaking the bank. And then the style inside now, this is probably one of the best looking crossovers. This is a very competitive segment. Every single brand makes something to compete with this. This is probably one of the coolest looking vehicles. On top of that, it is so feature packed, especially with the panoramic roof, the ventilated seats I did not expect, and all the other features this has, like the camera rear view and everything. It seems like a vehicle really well optioned. Normally you look at the Hyundais and Kias, and those are the ones that they're selling you on the features, on all the options they have. I feel like Chevy's giving you those same features. You have every option you could probably imagine in this vehicle without breaking the bank. One of my favorite things is the storage in the center. For me, I hate driving in cars with things in my pockets. I just hate things in my pockets. So with this car, I can always put my phone right here. My wife can put her phone right here. Both of us can put our water bottles here. We always have water bottles with us. The car keys, I hate having them in my pockets. I can put it right here. And then extra stuff like a purse or whatever can go right there. So there is literally the perfect storage solution in the center of this car, and that has been one of the things that just to me makes this so nice, because I'm always questioning where do I put all my stuff when I'm in and out of the cars, getting in and out, day after day, all day long. It is so nice to have just everything has a perfect spot to go. So I really like that aspect to it as well. And then just the comfort aspect, it's a really nice place to be. So now that we're moving a little bit, let's slow down and accelerate, feel out this power from a standstill. Let's full throttle. Once you get into third gear, there's like noticeably just not a lot of power. Like it's decent first and second. Once it hits third, it just feels like it bogs down and slowly gets moving. So power-wise is fine. I wouldn't mind there just being a bit more. Maybe give it a 2-liter rather than a 1.5 liter, or even add a hybrid or something. So that's the one thing I would say. It's fine for normal driving. Just if you're getting up to speed on the highway, you're gonna have to gauge the gap nicely to make sure you're gonna be able to make it. So that maybe is the one thing. Just modern cars are getting smaller and smaller engines. I wouldn't mind a bit more pep out of this, and that's probably my biggest downfall with it. Aside from that, which your average buyer probably won't have an issue with that, just if you're gonna get into some quick moving traffic, just proceed with caution. Other than that, I feel like Chevy has done a good job. I love the new Traverse. I think it looks fantastic for a nice 3-row SUV. This is basically the mini version. It looks just like its same characteristic, and I think they've nailed it with the styling inside and out. So with this car, I think what you're paying for is one of the coolest looking crossovers in this class. You do have some nice off-road capabilities for adventure, and the technology and features. This is very packed with a lot of great things to make it a very well-equipped car for the money. So that is it for the 2025 Chevy Equinox. Finally checking out the all-wheel drive one. In my opinion, significantly better than the front-wheel drive version. Definitely the spec I would go with. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for plenty more content. And I'll see you all in the next video.